we are trying this again. I don't know what happened. I'm a little technologically challenged. So we're trying this again. And I'll give you a couple moments to hop on. Hopefully, I set this up correctly. I'm going to hang out here for a second. More than a second. Probably a little confusing. If you see me live and then you see me not live, it's because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so sorry about the back and forth with the lives. I'm a little tech savvy and I'm doing this from my phone because apparently Chromebooks are not that intelligent. So I just wanted to come on really and say hello. Whitney and I had every intention the other day of doing a live, and my Chromebook was not, it's just not set up for to connect into YouTube. So I'll be doing the lives from my phone until I get a new laptop. And you know, we're post Eclipse here. Hey Amber. So we're post Eclipse, and I wanted to check in and see how everybody was feeling and doing and sensing and you know, getting on with it. And I've had some really interesting ascension symptoms, such as heart palpitations. So I like to share these so that anybody experiencing them can go, oh, I'm not alone. I'm experiencing that as well. And I also wanted to thank you for your support as I go through this major transformation publicly, which is never easy to do. And you guys have been so supportive and so incredible. And you guys embraced Whitney the other day. And by the way, we're going to be doing another live with Whitney, an actual live. It'll be live this weekend. So we'll give you the link so that you can set your timer for that. But it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. And we'll have a nice discussion, a Q&A with her. And I think we're going to pull some cards for you this weekend as well. So there's just so much change going on, so much of a shift. And it's internal, it's external, it's within, it's without. And I think we're really feeling the need to just slow down and take it easy and process and integrate. And so if you're being called to rest, hey Rhonda, hey Melissa, thanks Melissa. If you're being called to rest at this time, do it. If you're being called, you know, to take action, go for it. But be easy and be gentle, because the eclipses are literally pulling things out. You know, they're extracting what doesn't work and putting good things in, taking stuff out, putting the good in. So I was flattened yesterday, literally flattened. And I was like, man, I wonder if anybody else is feeling this way. Inevitably, somebody out there was feeling that way. So let me know, guys, in the comments. Let me know how you sailed through this eclipse and what you're feeling. You know, it's almost like, I mean, we jump timelines. We jump timelines every time we have an eclipse. But so it's a huge, huge major opportunity, but it's almost like the wiring, you know, sort of for me, it was like, it felt like physically like an electrolyte balance, and, you know, with the heart palpitations. And I checked in with medical professionals, don't worry. But it felt like I was like electrically off, if that makes sense. And it was all day long, actually, even into this morning a little bit. And then it finally subsided and I was able to actually do some things. But I'm going to pull a few cards for you guys today, and I'm here to answer any questions. It's a little challenging with just one of me to answer the questions because they kind of pop up on my phone and then they disappear. But I will do my best to answer any questions you guys have about, you know, my departure from the twin flame, really the twin flame label, the journey. I wouldn't so much say the connection, but from the label and from the journey, I have removed my, you know, my consciousness from focusing on that and making that sort of the center of my world and my universe, and instead am focusing on fully on my growth and One of the things I want to be really transparent and honest with you guys, one of the things I realized is that for me personally, and maybe some of you can relate to this, even though I was physically removed from the counterpart for a year and a half almost, uh, I was feeling very much energetically, I was still wanting to connect. And, thoughts of that person or, reaching out to that person, every so often, those are all, keeping you energetically connected to this ideal or this kind of romanticized version or vision of what the twin flame journey is. And the truth is that that person was your ascension partner, your activation partner, and their role was never, the role was always to activate you and always to help you with ascending. So I hold a lot of space in my heart, a lot of grace, and I'm still moving through some anger, to be honest. But because of the situation that occurred last year with the counterpart and I. So, to be honest, in all honesty, I'm moving through some anger still, which is totally healthy. And I want to talk about anger, and I'm going to be talking about it a lot more on this channel because we spiritually bypass in many different ways. And one of the ways we do that is we pretend our anger isn't present. We ignore it, we push it down, or we feel shamed by it. We shame ourselves, or we allow others to shame us, or the society or community to shame us. And it's like, oh, then you're just unhealed. Bullshit. You can be angry and still have love. You can be both. You can be angry and happy. You can be at peace and have anger all simultaneously. Anger is not to be shamed. Anger is not something we need to be afraid of. It's not something that we need to run away from or push down within ourselves. There are things that happen in life that make us angry and that make us feel something. And I think it's very important that we honor our anger. It's radical rage, right? That's a term that I've come up with. It's radical rage. It is something that we need to process. We need to allow to flow through us. And these eclipses, for me anyway, have really helped me get to the root of the anger and realize the repercussions of not dealing with the anger, because I was told by other spiritual bypassers, I was told that anger is not, instead of anger being a gift or a tool, oh, anger is evil, anger is bad. Oh, you're unhealed if you're angry or if you're pissed off about something. No, what if we all honored each other's anger, just like we honored each other's sadness or, losses or heartbreak? What if we honored somebody's rage? Like, imagine the power of that. Imagine the power of anger if we allowed it to transform us. And then we could transcend it. Then we transform, and then we transcend the anger, and then it becomes our most powerful emotion, right? But it's all in the perspective and how we look at it and how we examine our anger. Do you examine it with curiosity, or do you examine it with shame? And I think this eclipse, these series of eclipses rather, have brought up a lot of questions for people because we've been kind of physically battered. So we've had to sit down and sit with ourselves and examine our emotions. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What do I want to do with this emotion? For me, a lot of it did have to do with the counterpart, with this journey. And realizing the deception, the layers of deception that exist when we buy into a label of any sort, or we buy into someone else's story, we buy into someone else's truth. I think it's very important that we all have our own truth, and I'm sitting here sharing my truth in full transparency and vulnerability, but it may not be your truth. And I honor that. And I recognize that. But for me, the truth is that my departure from the label and from the journey is saving me and freeing me. I choose to learn in a different way now. I choose to learn through growth and joy and expansion. And I choose to surround myself energetically and physically with people that support me through that, with people that honor me, with people that respect me, with truth and dignity and respect. And for me, the journey was suffering. And while I can understand that this person is your divine counterpart and this person is your divine mirror, everybody is your divine mirror, truth be told. If we're all truly one, then we're not separate. So why do we make the twin flame the highest of the high labels? Why do we do that? Why do we, put soulmates kind of here? Right? It's like twin flames here, soulmates here. If I have a moderator, can you block Paula? I think she's just yeah. If there's any moderators, you guys can block any comments that look like they're not legit. We don't need that on the channel. But what was I saying? So brain fog is another symptom of this eclipse. Yeah, learning through growth, learning through joy, instead of learning through pain and suffering, which is really what this journey brings. And it also, it allows us to maybe step out of our moral character or moral code. Whatever that might be. Can someone please block Paula? It's definitely a bot. So I feel like there's sort of a commitment to, it's sort of like we feel like we signed this contract and there's this commitment, that we feel to sort of suffer, or I have to go through the runner chaser stage, or oh, this is okay that they're doing this, or it's like all of this focus on what they're doing, what they're not doing. And even when we say that we moved on, I think a lot of times thank you, Fiona, it's ridiculous. I think a lot of times it's that we actually have physically moved on, but energetically we're still holding that space. And within that space, what else could you invite in, right? Within that space where the twin flame was being held, what else could you invite in? So this is something that, again, I've been searching for and really searching within myself for 6 months. And a lot of you have reached out in the comments, you've reached out on videos, you've reached out privately to share your stories. So it's very interesting to hear how we're all, shouldn't say all, but many of us are arriving at the same place. I'm going to pull some cards. This is just very kind of low-key live, guys. I haven't done a live in a year, so I'm a little bit rusty, but I'm enjoying spending some time with you guys live. And there's going to be a lot more lives. I'll do some by myself and some will be with Whitney, but there's going to be regular lives weekly. And also, I wanted to let you guys know, I almost forgot, that I am changing the name of the channel. As I am evolving and transforming, the channel will evolve and transform. So both the channel and the website will have a different name. Sorry, I'm just getting really distracted. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna see if I can block that bot. Give me 1 second. Okay. One second. I'm still here. I swear YouTube chooses the worst picture to put as your to set as the picture for the video, so I'll fix that later. I'm like really? Okay, so it's not letting me. All right, well, let's see if I can do this. Terrible and Beautiful Eclipse release. Tell me more, JB. All right. There we go. Sorry, I just had to hide the bot. Okay, perfect. Terrible and beautiful. Yes, that's a good way to describe the eclipse. Terrible and beautiful all at once. And has anybody else felt like they've been riddled with anxiety and exhaustion at the same time? So it's sort of like you're on a high and then you're also like, you're on this high, but you're restless. It's hard to describe. I don't think I'm very clear. I don't even know if I'm going to save this live because I don't feel like I'm very clear in this video. So I think the energies are affecting me kind of more than I realize. And, but I felt so compelled to come on and to share. Exhaustion, restlessness. Yeah. It's come out in my circ training most notably. Uh-oh, be careful up there, Melissa. Be careful with that circ training. That sounds dangerous, but also amazing. I have a friend, we did gymnastics together when we were younger, when we were kids, and she's done some circ training, and it's so beautiful. Yeah, like you can't do anything. Yeah, I had to go out today. So we have another hurricane coming to my state. And so I had to go out and get some supplies just to be sure. And it was like, I was like this driving. Because, you know, it takes so much focus just to do certain things. Ooh. Yeah, the tears will come, Fiona. Hey, Tracy. Completely exhausted, unable to relax. I am. This is me and my authenticity. This is me and my rawness and my wholeness and my pureness. And, you know, when you're trying, I always say, like, you know, fitting a square peg into a round hole, and you're trying to do that, it just doesn't work, and it's exhausting. And I have seen the shifts and changes in myself just as in the past week, as I've been able to really, you know, share and be authentic and be vulnerable, which is really scary because I didn't know how anybody was going to react to this. And you guys have been so supportive and so understanding and so patient, you know, over the past few months while I kind of went back and forth, was trying to find my truth, really. And you guys were witnessing that growth. And I'm sure, you know, those of you who have been on the channel for a while have, you know, were noticing that something was different, but maybe not able to pinpoint what was happening. I was going through my own process, and I had to separate from parts of myself, you know, that I was holding on to. Hey, Jill. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of my clients on this live. Hey, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like I'm not clear, Amber. I'm trying, like, again, this is just a very casual hangout today because I didn't know if I could record a video. I didn't know if I had the energy for that, but for some reason I was told do a live, and I was like, I don't know if I have the energy for that. But it's really just having a conversation with you guys and being able to sit and being able to interact, which I've wanted to do for so long, but there was this fear of being behind the camera, I think, also because I wasn't in my truth. And, you know, you feel like people are going to see through that, you know, and you guys probably would have because it's hard to hide your truth. So I think I was waiting now, like looking back on it in hindsight, I think I was waiting until I felt like I was in my truth and could really deliver from a place of truth and authenticity. And I'm much more certain inside of myself, like with myself, you know, like that saying, get right with yourself. That's what I've been doing. There's a lot of transits right now that I'm grateful for it too, Fiona. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys and grateful to have this channel and have all of you. You know, I recognize that we're going to lose some subscribers and we're going to gain more. We're going to gain new ones, and that's beautiful and that's okay. And it's all exactly as it should be. But we are going through a rite of passage. So we've got, hey, Ruth. We've got the Six of Wands coming up, and oh, hey, Mary Lottie. Hi, Helen. Oh gosh, I'm trying to read them as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's very intense, Helen. It's very intense. Hey, Melanie. Yes. It's very intense right now. It's very intense physically. Like if you didn't catch a live earlier, I know I'm kind of all over the place. I apologize, guys. It's just kind of where I'm at today. So please be patient, or you can sign off if this isn't your thing. I totally get it. I'll be more clear hopefully tomorrow or by the weekend. But it's sort of like your neural circuits are off with this eclipse. You know, like things aren't firing correctly. So brain fog or brain farts. Hard to find words, maybe challenging to drive or to move right now, heart palpitations, and utter exhaustion, trouble talking, like all of these things. You're like, it just is taking so much effort just to human right now. It's like just human. I'm just trying to human. I had to go to Publix today, and it was packed because there's a tropical storm coming tonight and tomorrow, so it was packed. And I was like, I can't do this right now. Like, I don't even know who I am or what my name is, and I'm supposed to go inside this store. So I ended up going to Sprouts instead, because it was less crowded, even though it was like 30 minutes away. Um, so yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. But guys, we're at the end of 2022. Think about that. I want you to reflect on all you've been through. This is, your journey. This is a transformation. You can see it's from the dark to the light, from the chaotic to the clear. And that's the journey that we're moving up and through right now. It's like we're moving up through a portal. And as we detach, from the counterpart or wherever you are in the journey, whether in some people, which I think is beautiful, are saying, I'm still going to follow you, but I am still connected to the label. That's fantastic. Everybody is welcome here in whatever stage of the journey you're in. Whether you don't even identify with twin flames, you could say, I'm a star seed, I'm a light worker, I have a soulmate. It's beautiful. There are just many ways to show up, and this is my truth right now. And like my good friend Sally, who you've probably seen on the channel, she was a client turned friend from 3 years ago. She said to me, Sarah, this is just where you're at right now, and it could be different in a year. And that's the beauty, is that we're allowed to change. We're allowed to change our mind. We're allowed to change our truth. We're allowed to, as we grow, as we get more information and we receive, because we're feelers and we're human, we shift and we allow ourselves to integrate the new knowledge. And that's what I'm doing. I'm in this massive place of integration where it's like, I'm sitting back and taking it all in like a child does, and everything is new in the world. And it's like this new way of being where suffering is not my signature anymore. And I'm choosing joy as my signature. So this rite of passage is often depicted as somebody traveling on a boat. And as they're traveling on the boat, they've got suitcases and luggage. And you can see in the picture, it's depicted as, shadows and clouds and rainstorm. And then they're moving towards the light and towards the clarity. And the clouds start to part. And this is just so beautiful and so poetic and so symbolic right now, I think, for where we are on the journey. Because even if you're in communication with a counterpart, even if you're with a soulmate, even if things are beautiful in that department, personally, right? And on an individual level, it's like, who am I? What am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Sort of like we're being uprooted from who we were and what we were and why we were there. And this uprooting is uncomfortable. It can be in different areas of life. Like, I'm going through this whole branding change and career change, and I'm doing it publicly. And I can imagine on a much greater scale, this is what a celebrity would feel like, as they change their truth and they shift, and, they have to do it in front of people. And you can imagine like the toll that would take on somebody. You can kind of have sympathy for what those massive celebrities go through when, everything is under scrutiny. And I think that over the next several days, as the eclipse energies sort of dissipate, they'll be with us for quite a while here, but as they start to dissipate, we should start to feel like a little more level-headed, a little clear, able to catch our breaths, both, symbolically and, metaphorically and physically. Let's pull a few more cards. Justice. Where are you receiving justice in your life right now? And what does that look like? What is that picture of justice? We're sitting on, it's so interesting, because to me, justice is also truth, right? The truth prevails, justice prevails, and truth is interwoven with justice. I feel like you can't have one without the other. Justice will bring truth. Truth will bring justice. The Daughter of Pentacles in this deck Daughter of Swords, is the Page of Swords. It's depicted so beautifully in this deck. It is a wise journey. It's a journey that you're starting off on, and you're at the very beginning of this journey. It's like you've got your backpack, you know, you've got your guide, you're lighting your path, and it's you and you alone. But the fear has been released, right? You've let go of the fear. You've let go of whatever it was that was holding you back or keeping you stuck or making you feel as though you couldn't move forward. So in whatever area of your life, this rite of passage that you're moving through is leading you towards a place of deeper truth and justice. Again, whatever that looks like for you individually and personally. And then the Page of Swords comes in, again, more truth, more justice. But also, to me, this is saying truth will light your path. As you call in more truth, and as you desire that truth, and as you embody and live that truth, that is going to it's going to send you higher and higher into the fires of transformation. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. This doesn't look like an easy journey or a path to me, but it does mean that you're starting to come out of the ashes of the fire. And on the other side of that is not only clarity, but it's like, you know, freedom. Freedom from where you were, freedom from restriction. To me, the twin flame label started to feel restricting. I felt restricted because I remember feeling like, you mean I can't get off this journey, like this merry-go-round, like this isn't possible, this is just my life for the rest of my life, this is just what it's going to be like. And it did not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. And I've realized that that was somebody else's truth. It wasn't my truth, it was someone else's words. And so I think we need to be very careful of taking other people's truth as our own, or other people's words or stories as ours, and then slapping a label on that. Well, so-and-so said this. But that's their experience and their truth and their perspective. And maybe that works for them, but it doesn't work for me. And I don't think it works for a lot of other people either. So like this idea that you're stuck on this merry-go-round and you just can't get off with this person, even though this person is acting up or over here or wants nothing to do with you, and you're supposed to go move forward, live your life, but hold space for that individual. It's like, wait a minute. Because to me, if you're holding space for that individual, you're filling a space that somebody else, like, you're not allowing not just another person, but other things to come in and fill that space. So to me, it's like a ghost. There's a ghost here, and you're saying to the ghost, like, I'm holding space for you, even though the ghost is like, okay. I felt so restricted. I felt like I was trapped, and I realized I don't want to feel that way. So it's, you know, to me, if you don't want to feel a certain way, you make a change. You change something. You change your thinking. You change your situation. You change yourself. And that's what I did. And I think that's what many of you are doing. Many feminines, they just don't want to learn through the pain anymore. They want to learn through the growth, through the expansion, through the joy. And another thing is your dreams might be really heightened right now. You might feel like messages have been coming through like crazy in my dream state. And pay attention to those dreams and what they're telling you. Write them down if you can, because they're, for me, what's happening anyways, as soon as I wake up, I remember and then I forget automatically. But there is this energy, this joyful, vibrant, kind of younger masculine energy that wants to come through that's like, hey, I want to play. And I think that's our inner masculine healing. I think that's parts of us that's been suppressed, restricted, or enslaved because we were buying into, you know, this notion that it has to be a certain way. And I think it's so easy to fall into the trap of, you know, we've been sort of on this, humanity has been on the spiritual path for a while now, or at least some of humanity, percentage of humanity. And it's easy to fall into the trap of somebody else can save me, somebody else can heal me, and needing to consistently get healings or consistently get clearings from somebody else, when really we are our own truth. We are our guide. We are our healer. And I think that's where we're being led to. And that's the next step for the spiritual community, is becoming your own healer, becoming your own teacher, becoming your own guide, really trusting yourself and trusting your instincts and trusting what you're feeling. Trusting what you're feeling and being able to decipher, okay, I feel this and this is where I feel it. Where is this coming from? Is this an ancient feeling? Is this a new feeling? And linking it back to a memory, linking it back to a certain age, and being able to really self-soothe and walk yourself through that place rather than relying on somebody else. Because Whitney and I are really big on empowering others to be able to hold that space for themselves, to be able to detect within themselves where the healing needs to be. So we're helping to lead you to that place of healing and growth. But we're not going to do the work for you. You wouldn't really want that anyway, because then you're relying on that person. Then you have to go back to that person over and over and over again. And it's reincarnation trap. I just think it's not healthy. And I think it is creates an unhealthy dynamic in relationship with healers and coaches, where we have to now that's not to say that there isn't a place for healers and coaches. Obviously, I'm a coach, I'm a healer, I'm a reader, but to empower people to understand their feelings and understand their journey and understand their bodies and understand their motives, like their value system. Whitney's big on that, the value system. What is your value system, and how does that affect your decisions, your everyday life, your relationships? What's your value systems? Most people don't really even know what their values are. So that's part of the program that we're incorporating into the program in January, is getting real about your value system, understanding yourself on a deeper level. What are my values? What do I value? Who do I value? Why do I value this? So important. So important to understand self. So this leg of the journey for me is about understanding self and also vindicating self. Understanding self, trusting self, vindicating self, forgiving self. For me, it's like forgiving self, that shame that comes up for buying into something that feels now like a little bit like a deception, or a trap. And being here for 3.5 years with not much in the physical that's changed in that situation. And so, I've heard it said, well, it's supposed to be a spiritual connection. But here's the thing, here's the catch about that. If it's just a spiritual connection, then you wouldn't have come earthside, physical. You wouldn't have incarnated into a physical body if it was just a spiritual connection. You would have stayed on the other side. But because it's a spiritual connection, and then it's supposed to translate into a physical connection, but for many people that hasn't happened, or it's like they can't figure out how to make it last, or how to make it stick, or how to make it last longer than a reunion phase, a couple hours, a couple days, even a couple weeks. So I think that if it was just a spiritual connection, we would have stayed in the ethereal form versus coming into physical form, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would we choose to incarnate just to be physically separate? These are just my thoughts. These are the thoughts that have been going round and round in my head. And I think it's easy for people to get caught up in the trap of thinking this person's going to return. But what if they don't return? What if they do return and tell you they've married somebody else? Then what? Or tell you, I still don't want to be with you, or whatever might happen. Then you go through the whole cycle of feeling crushed and feeling broken and feeling upset, and it's sort of like over and over and over and over again. It just doesn't make sense to me anymore. It doesn't make sense. Trust me, I've looked at this from every angle in the past 6 months, 7 months, every angle, every direction, every nook and cranny. And these are my thoughts and these are my beliefs, is that if we wanted to have a physical incarnation, then you incarnate to be physically together. And I know there's a lot being said about Age of Aquarius, but, I'm studying Hellenistic astrology right now. We're about 5 months in, 4 or 5 months in to a year-long course. Well, actually, it'll be 2-year-long course. And he says, he's an amazing teacher, one of the best. And he says, there is no Age of Aquarius. That's a New Age concept. And I was like, right, mind blown. What do you mean? How is that possible, right? Of course it is. Of course there's Age of Aquarius. He's like, no. He's like, if you look at Hellenistic astrology, that doesn't even exist. And so a lot of this, the New Age, I mean, honestly, twin flames, it's said that there's a history, right? You can look back to some of the great philosophers, the ancient Greek philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, and they talked about twin flames. However, they didn't talk about, the physical reunion or the runner-chaser phase. This is all modernized stuff. This is all stuff somebody came up with to try to make sense of this journey that in large part is toxic and unhealthy behavior that we are allowing because we say, well, it's my twin flame, it's my divine counterpart, so I'm going to allow this. Why? When you really truly love yourself and you put yourself first, you don't allow that behavior. So again, even if you're physically walking away from this individual, if you're still allowing like them to come and go, like in your life, come, go, in and out the door, or, they're married and you're like, we're friends, but you know that it's more than that. Like there's so many ways this can show up. Morality aside, because I'm not here to judge somebody else, right? It's not my place. I have my own journey. My own journey has been complicated and convoluted enough. So it's not about morality. It's just, I want you guys to find the place where you truly value yourself and love yourself. Yeah, Tracy says it was a coping mechanism that no longer fits me. Exactly. So what Whitney says, and this is amazing. Whitney doesn't even believe in twin flames. This is why I love working with her. She says it's a cop-out because it's a way to look outside of yourself. Well, they're doing this, or they're not doing this, they're not healing, or they're got married, or they're not blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're spiritually bypassing without even realizing it. But again, waiting for this person to return, and you don't even know if or when they're going to return, that is unhealthy. In my opinion, that's unhealthy. In my opinion, that's holding you back big time from a true, great, big love to come into your life. Whether that's self-love, hopefully first and foremost, but then a physical person, another person to come in. So I want to help free people who are ready to feel free from the label and from the journey and from the merry-go-round and from the chaos and the pain. There's many people that say, oh, twin flames are all going to be together in this lifetime. Is it happening though? I personally don't know a single twin flame couple that is in union. I'm just being honest. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I don't know. And this is, I've worked with hundreds of people. I've heard hundreds, maybe thousands of stories over the 3 years, probably thousands. I don't know a single couple that is in union. This isn't to discourage. This isn't to, this is just like, I'm just saying it like it is. Interpret it however you want. Throw the phone if you need to, curse do whatever you need to do. It's fine. But don't you think if we're in the age of Aquarius, like they say, and twin flames are going to come together, that it would have already happened or would be happening right now? And I just don't see that happening. And I see it holding so many people back from their beautiful life. And I can guarantee you that there's a beautiful partner who is ready in the physical, in the flesh, to be your partner and support you and walk by your side, but they can't come in that door because the space is being held energetically by somebody else. I'm very curious, actually, how long it will take for someone to show up in my life, because I've held on to this concept, and many feminines like, well, nobody's showing up. I feel like I'm being cock-blocked. Maybe that's because energetically there was no space for a new person to come in. So I'm very curious, how many of us will see new people enter our lives now that there's space for them to do so. We're giving them like the high five, like the permission, like the door is open, come on in. So let's see what happens. Because I really truly feel like they didn't have a way in, they didn't have a way in. So now they do. And I feel like we've been confused. We've been deceived, whether it was intentional or not. Can you have a spiritual connection with someone and never end up with them physically? Sure. But if that's the case, don't you want to live your life? Don't you want to find great love? And someone who wants to sleep next to you and wake up next to you and live life with and go on adventures with? I know I do. So, just food for thought. And I think that's a good point, Jill. So thank you for sharing. I think a lot, and again, do I know this? No, because I don't know these people personally. This is their truth, not mine. But I think a lot of the couples you see on social media are soulmates. I feel like it's really rare that twin flames end up together and come together. I just think there's so much we still have to clear in this physical world. There's so much that we're still working through. Like, we're in our infancy as humans. Humanity is in its infancy still. And so, again, without knowing them personally, I don't know. They're twin flames or soulmates. I don't know. It's not my place. It's not my truth. And I guess it doesn't really matter, because I think what matters is that you know your truth, and you know what works for you, and you know what's right for you, and that you feel good. And if you feel good in your connection and where you're at, by all means pursue that. Pursue that which lights you up. Pursue that which expands you. Pursue that which brings you joy and abundance and health and wealth and all of the good things. And if it doesn't, perhaps it's time to let it go. Eclipses eclipse out something permanently, and that's what scares the shit out of the ego, because it's like, okay, this is going for good. This isn't coming back. So for me, it feels like a concept that isn't coming back for me. And if that person were to return, first of all, I would share with you guys, because I've been honest up to this point, so why wouldn't I? I would share. But I also don't think I would call that person a twin flame. And it would have to begin as a friendship to rebuild trust, because the trust was shattered for me, as it was for many of you. So it would be a friendship or, acquaintanceship, whatever it would be at first. I have zero expectations, really even no desire for that to happen. I'm just saying, as a what if scenario. That person comes back. Would I hear him out? Maybe. Depends. And would I entertain a relationship? That's a tough one. If I was already in another relationship, no. If I was single, maybe. But would I call him my twin flame? I really don't think so. So even if that person returns, it would just be a relationship with another person. And I think there's something really great, especially for those of you who have felt blocked, or who have felt like, I just can't get, I feel so restricted. I feel so stuck on this journey, or imprisoned, or whatever you felt like, is like, take the label away and see how that feels. They're just a person. They're a person, just like you. And it takes away some of the power. So, yeah, Jean, you're right. There is something distorted around this belief. And there's actually many of us in this community who are questioning whether it's even of the light. There are many of us who have arrived at this place of there's been so much distortion and deception around the label that we're starting to question the validity. We're starting to question the whether or not this is actually rooted in God or rooted in the light. I mean, this is, I haven't, I'm still processing my truth. I'm still, here guys are watching me evolve. I'm evolving in front of you. And so I'm still finding my way on my path. And I just can't help but feel like there has been deception, and there's so much more to say about that. I have to be so careful on here what I say. You guys know that. But we'll be talking in more lives. And Whitney is really good at pulling out. She's so grounded, guys. You're gonna love her. If you haven't, go watch the live. She's so grounded. She just pulls you right in and and you're grounded. And we're so good. We're a Taurus Scorpio. So she's a Taurus, I'm a Scorpio. We're polar opposites, and we ground each other. We lift each other. So where one of us might struggle, the other one, has a strength, and vice versa. You guys are amazing, by the way. You guys are amazing and supportive. Thank you so very much. This has been so scary. And it was Whitney who said, you need to speak your truth. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. And then it just all came. The eclipse was coming, and it had to come out. I just couldn't hold it back anymore. And I really didn't know how it was going to be received. And that's the scariest thing when your career is built on something you've done for 3 years. It was an identity that I had, and it was an attachment to that label. And I have to let it go. And it's like, it's so fucking scary. And there's so much unknown right now. But I do know that I'm on the right path. And I know that you know if you're on the right path. And I know there's freedom on the other side of this. I know that without a doubt. And I know there's clarity. Well, guys, by the way, if you're feeling, things still feel chaotic, or you feel like you are lacking clarity right now, we're still deep in eclipse season. We're deep in the chaos. We're deep in the thick of it. So I just want to, please have faith. If you guys are struggling, reach out to people. Okay, reach out to other people on the channel. Let us know. And Whitney and I, every live that we do, we're going to answer as many questions as possible on the live, and it'll be weekly. And we're also going to try to answer as many questions as we can underneath the video. So we really want to help bring clarity. I can just feel the collective, and I think that's what I was feeling yesterday with the heart palpitations. I can feel so many of you just like, I can still feel people holding on, and I can feel so many of you literally going, like a huge weight is lifted and a huge relief, and just hearing my words. Even if they don't fully resonate on a cognitive level or conscious level, for some of you, I feel like it's resonating on a deeper level. And I'm here for you, and I'm here for it. And when I say we're all in this together and we're all rowing the boats together, I mean that. I have struggled with vulnerability my whole life, and I've been tough, and I've been, I used to say, oh, I'm so much the masculine, but I'm really not. I'm so much the feminine too. I'm both. We're all both. But I want to show you guys my feminine side more. I want to show you guys the creative side more. I want to show you guys the vulnerable side more. And it starts here with me doing these lives, being behind the camera, and sharing. And Whitney helps me bring out my truth so much. And I'm so grateful for her. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to still be creating. And my content is evolving. So if you can be patient with me while I continue to go through this process, I'm incredibly grateful, endlessly grateful for your support while I move through this. This has not been easy on me. I know it's not been easy on you either, with what you're all going through personally. And some of you are, going through this eclipse season, and it's in your first house of identity, or it's in your second house of money and finances, or It's in your 10th house of career. And hello, me. And you're like, oh my God, like you're frazzled and things don't make sense. And it's the puzzle pieces aren't fitting and the answers aren't there yet. I get it. I truly get it. So find a way every day to ground, find a way every day to support yourself, find people that ground you, find people that can support you, even if they don't understand, they can support you and help you through this. And I'm going to be more consistent on this channel because it's one of the things that I'm being called to do is be more consistent in my life. So my promise to you is that I will have weekly lives, maybe even 2 a week. And also just, I want to have a schedule on the channel where, you know, maybe I'm thinking Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So stay tuned as I roll this out because I want more consistency. I want you guys to be able to go, okay, Sarah's live on this day. Sarah's going to have a video on this day. I think that's really what needs to be done right now. I think people really need consistency and reliability, and I want to do that. It's a calling for me. It's part of my process. So if you can allow me to do that for you and allow me to, it's showing up for you and it's also showing up for myself. It's making a promise to you. It's making a promise to myself. And we are just so excited to be here with you. And we're so excited for this program in January. I can't even tell you. It feels so heart-centered and heart-led more than anything I think I've ever done, except for maybe when I got my yoga training back in 2011. That was very heart-centered and heart-led. That was a long time ago. And yeah, that's where I'm at post Eclipse. If you guys want to leave a comment, I tried to scroll through the comments. I'll get better with this technology, I promise, but I tried to scroll through the comments as I was talking, but it turns out that's pretty challenging, especially when you've got brain fog and you're trying to just focus. But thank you all for being here and for your comments and for your amazing, endless support. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are incredible. And thank you for your truth. The world needs our truth. It needs us to stand in our truth and to be brave enough and courageous enough to just be us. So this is me, this is Sarah, and I'm so excited to share with you guys the new name for the channel. I've also bid on a website domain that is my first and middle name, and I'm fingers crossed, please send a blessing out that they respond and I get it, because it's sort of like a bidding process, and I don't know how it works exactly through GoDaddy, but it's already taken, but nobody's done anything with the domain, and I really want it because it flows beautifully and it's just a reflection of my growth. But in the meantime, the name for the channel is I think it's gonna resonate with so many of you. So if you see that and you're confused and you're like, where's Lunar Goddess? I'll just tell you, it's Energetic Rebel. So I'm really excited. Spent a lot of time brainstorming with that over the past 6 months as well. So Energetic Rebel is the new name. Please spread the word if you can. And hopefully people will still be able to find the channel. I think it'll just still show up, and hopefully they'll recognize my face at least. And the new website will be the same, energeticrebel.com. So that will be coming up soon. That's it. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you again for being here. And yeah, we'll see you this weekend. Whitney and I will see you this weekend. Stay tuned for details on that live and when that will be. And we would love to have you join us. Ask any questions you have of Whitney, of myself, and we're going to just continue this process. So have a beautiful, beautiful day. Many blessings, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.